So I was gonna do this earlier, but I slept a little bit longer than I planned on, and I didn't want to do it while I was hungry because that would entitle me to, or not entitle me, but incentivize me to uh, be quicker in ending it, and I didn't want to do that. So this morning I was, and again I've got two videos I'll try to edit this week. One of them there's a script where I'm having a bit of writer's block on, and the other one is just kind of an idea I've had for a while that I'd like to see come out around Halloween because it is kind of Halloween themed. But anyway, there was a user this morning who was doing a stream, and during the stream, he talked about how it was about maybe two or three, four other guys were doing a group stream. So it's one of those streams where three, four people all sit together talking about something. And he mentioned how as a group they had gotten together to discuss him and they only had two people watching. And it was funny because they had more people watching like in the stream than watching the stream. um, but he was kind of perplexed by this because again they had his name in the title, so he wanted to see what they were saying. And, people when they see their name being mentioned, they do get curious about what someone is saying of them. I certainly have had the same I guess level of interest. So he goes over there and starts trying to talk to them. And while he's responding to the things that are being said, oh, thanks, King. Wow, I appreciate it. I actually had to fight to get remonetized because, just to detour a little bit, this damn website is so tricky in terms of little like stunts that they pull to get you. So I got monetized 3 years ago, and then about 2 or 3 months ago, where I made the demonetized video, YouTube told me that because I didn't get some PIN number sent to me and enter it in, that I was no longer eligible. And I was looking at this letter, like well, not a letter, but this computer screen, very perplexed because for years you allowed me to be monetized without having this thing put in place. But anyways, long story short, I got the thing back. So that's it. It's annoying because again they changed their rules so damn much that people who weren't breaking any rules now are subject to get punished for not, I guess, adhering to everything they want you to do at all times. But going back to this video, they were talking about him in a video in a disparaging way, which I mean, we all have the, I guess, the right to do. But he comes on there and he tries to talk to them. And one of the things, so they monetized you at first, but then demonetized you. What the hell? Yeah, I really thought I broke some kind of rule because I was getting the yellow, the little piss yellow sign because of, I guess, supposedly not getting the little scorecard correct. And after asking them to send me the pin for this monetization thing, then they allowed me to have it again. But yeah, for 2 months, I didn't get anything off of here, which again did not stop me from making videos because, as I said before, I'm not in this for some coins. But getting back to what I was saying, he comes on their stream and he tries talking to them about their issue with him. And the two guys on there, because there's actually a couple of people, but the two that are most prominent who are speaking the most of anybody, one of them says, "Oh, why are you coming after me? There's plenty of people that are bigger than me that are doing videos on you," and then accuses him of getting so angry over such a smaller person before muting him and then eventually kicking him off the show. Now, this person who had this video made on him, he will usually allow people to respond to him. So if they want to have a conversation, we'll talk to them. And the position or the reason behind doing that is you don't want to throw grenades and then hide your hands. You don't want to be able to insult or disparage or comment on someone without giving them the chance to respond directly. And it was kind of funny because I remember when I was posting on Instagram, and I haven't posted on there in over a year, but I used to post on there every day for about 2 years. And when I used to post on there, I remember very distinctly one day there was a broad I'd never seen before, never interacted with at all, who came on one of my pictures because I used to post about politics, and she wrote some kind of response to whatever I was saying that was disagreeing, but it wasn't really directly insulting. And then I go and try to respond to her comment that she left on my page, just to find out I've been blocked. So she came to my page to I guess talk trash or be antagonistic, and then made sure to block me so I couldn't respond to what she was saying. There was actually another broad about 3 years ago, and I always remember this because it goes back to that whole thing of when someone appears to want to have a conversation. Uh, Sometimes I would, in the past, take the bait. Like now, if I haven't seen you before, I ignore you. Um, but this person came on. It was like 4, 5, 6 different pictures I had because each time I did a picture, I would talk about whatever the article was and whatnot. And she responded to the points I made in these various posts. So I thought, again, presuming, because why the hell else would you write, what was it, 5 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, some lengthy number of comments altogether, to where she just went post by post responding to it. I respond back to what she said and never heard a response back. So she literally came to throw grenades and hide her hands. So, let me ignore any responses that are made to me. Let me make sure I don't see those while I make all the comments I want. Why did she even say anything in the first place? That's why I said people online are very strange. Like I can actually prove the majority of people who respond rather to things I posted on Instagram did not do that. So that is a factually objectionably weird thing to do, to come to someone's page, say something, I guess, antagonistic to them, and then block them so they can't say anything back to you, even though you're the one that instigated this, I don't know what you call it, confrontation, dilemma. But when this guy was responding to these people after they kicked him off their stream, he talked about how this same person who did the video on, because we didn't know this when he was first starting the stream, actually has a rap song that he made. And in this rap song, he mentions a whole bunch of different rappers. And, it's kind of, they call those diss tracks where you talk trash about other artists. And I found it very, it was a good comment on the part of the guy that got kicked off, that what would this person do if any of these rappers that he dissed decided to respond? So in his rap, he talks trash about, just name a few, Rick Ross, Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, any of these people. What would he do if Rick Ross said, "Man, to hell with this person on YouTube. I'm gonna do a diss track where I make sure to include him in there"? Would he say, "I'm just a small rapper. You can't talk about me"? I'm too itty bitty for you to discuss me. I can discuss you all day long and make these disparaging comments, but you're not allowed to respond to me because I'm not big enough to acquire your attention. I just think it's very unfair, and it's a way of using someone's circumstance to deflect from the points they're making, or to circumvent their argument, to make it seem as if it's not legitimate. It's kind of like when we were talking about how there was a user, or rather with the Discord snake, he tried to accuse me of having a mental illness because I didn't like some movie, and tried to say that because I didn't see this film 10 or 15 years ago, that was the reason I didn't like it, even though I made all these points as to why I didn't like it. And it all goes back to this thing of, when you can't dispute what someone is saying, you have to look for things that are out of their control, because a lot of us don't really control how many people have heard of us. Unless we put up a bunch of billboards and have some advertising team that's going around the US or some other country promoting our stuff, it kind of just happens, depending on who ends up getting big or not. But with that being said, it's very disturbing that supposedly there's this idea that when you become large enough, or massive in popularity, you're now not allowed to respond to your critics because they're unknown or not as known as you. Nobody thinks that's weird, that there's this supposed glass of notability that once you reach, you can't break through and respond to anyone directly down there. And that's not the first time I've seen that. But I want to go back to the part about them kicking him off after making this video about him or doing this stream about him, because after he left, and I love when this happens when people like when they do these unscripted attacks on other people. It just you can always tell that their arguments aren't well thought out because they'll say these things that just kind of contradict with each other or don't really make sense in terms of what's occurred. So the person who he was talking about came on his stream to talk to him. That's all he did. And he chooses to accuse this person of focusing on him just because he came to his stream and tried to talk to him about why he had an issue with him. He didn't make a video about him. He didn't make videos about him. He just came to his stream, tried to speak to him, and then got kicked off. But that's a hell of a way to describe less than, I'd say, 10 minutes of trying to address someone in a vocal medium. People actually believe that person is bigger than the other. They should ignore them. Yeah, I've seen the same thing happen. This isn't on that specifically, but I want to go back to what happened to me on Instagram, where the person responded to what I wrote on my page, like came to my page to respond to me and then blocked me. There's a guy who has 2 million subs, and somebody on Twitter was talking trash about him to where their comment got 6,000 likes, which compared to 2 million subscribers is nothing. But he wanted to respond to this person because he saw their post was getting a lot of attention, or at least more attention than you would typically see from somebody nobody knows responding to a person that is kind of, I guess, big by the standards of YouTube. And he tried to comment just to find out he had been blocked. So this person blocked him before he could even respond. Although in that person's case, I defended it because Twitter's blocking system is different from these other websites where on Twitter, if you block someone, you can't see their post and they can't see yours, or you have the option to see their stuff and they can't see your stuff. So maybe they blocked him so that they wouldn't have to read anything he wrote anymore. That's a little bit of a different circumstance. King says that kind of comes with the territory of being a smaller account. Don't expect a response or attention. Unspoken social media rules, apparently. Well, yes, but my thing is, if the person that you're talking about is responding to you and they're addressing what you're saying, I don't see how it's unfair or screwed up for them to do that, because you brought it on yourself. You hadn't talked about them, they wouldn't be responding to you. Just like I did a video about David Pakman. Actually, I did 2 videos. I did one supporting him, one criticizing him, and that man has 1 million subscribers. If he chose to respond to me or to say, oh, this person that is in California made a video about me, I couldn't say, oh my God, I'm so small, please don't talk about me, Mr. Pakman, because I provoked or otherwise initiated this encounter. I wouldn't call it a confrontation because, like I said, the difference between me when I critique people I like or people that I watch, and when people watch and critique me, is I don't try to insult you or make you seem like there's a bit of a difference. Because I mentioned the guy that made the video on me, and that was, it's like you want to critique someone because of the way they treated you on the stream, but then you're going to accuse them of being a different sexuality and all this stuff that has nothing to do with the actual topic at hand. And usually I stray away from those kind of weird, I guess, inclinations where I actually address what the person is saying. King says it's totally fair. It's not like you were attacking him with your response. Honestly, better than what usually happens. Yeah, just the same thing with Cenk. I've done multiple videos either speaking in his favor. Most of them have been critiquing something he said. But again, I've done multiple videos about him. If he chooses to include or address something I've said in one of those videos at one point when he's doing one of his streams, I can't say, "Oh my God, sir, you have 4 million subscribers and I only have 2,000. Please don't hurt me. Don't say anything." I can't do that. All these people would have never known who I was, or at least would have never addressed me specifically if I hadn't have put their name in the title of the video I had done on them. So it's not fair to expect them to just say, well, this person may have criticized me and I may feel like saying something back, but because of their size, I'm going to ignore, I feel obligated to ignore them. I just think it's a really weird, just a deflection. It's kind of, and I don't usually like to bring the chick stuff up everywhere, but I was talking about on Saturday how people who didn't agree with me on that, as opposed to actually addressing what I was saying, which I think is fair. So often when I would look at the post they wrote either on YouTube or on some other website, they were caught up on stuff like, oh, the way he speaks and his appearance, and you're whiny. They didn't actually respond specifically to any of the points that were being made. But again, they don't address those things, not because my audio was gargled and they couldn't understand what I was saying. It's a purposeful choice to ignore the validity of my claims by lashing out at something that doesn't have anything to do with those claims. Like if I did a video, let me see this. Getting subscribers is a lot of hard work on all social platforms. Yeah, but the number of subs you have shouldn't make you immune from being criticized by somebody that you criticized or being responded to by someone larger. Should be glad you're not announcing usernames. Well, usually I don't like to do that because I see that. So when I did my top 5 subscribers video 2 years ago, the reason I announced usernames is because those were people I was speaking very highly of. Whereas if I do a video addressing ridiculous stuff that's been said to me on this website, I hide the names because I don't want to, what's the way of saying it, bring attention, whether it be positive or negative, depending on what you think of their comment, to that person. And it's the same position I have with the romance stuff. Like I said, I never put up anybody's picture, their voice. The only thing you see are some messages that they write. And I always make sure to cut off their names because I'm, again, not trying to expose anybody. We're talking about ridiculous behavior perpetuated by a group of people. Don't give them any attention. Well, I think there's a difference between responding to them, because I used to respond to them. I would write some comment in, back and forth with them. But usually if I do focus on anything they've said specifically, I just use that as an example. Just like with the 2 comments that were in that last edited video I did, they were in there because they were supposed to be examples of what I was talking about, which was the just world fallacy that, if people don't think you're good enough or a good person, then you won't get this good result, even if we've shown that there are multiple people that can be considered objectively bad that get that result. Instagram should be like Facebook, type freely and everything. Yeah, I would rather Facebook over Instagram because they don't have people on Facebook begging for money for taking a stupid picture. Like I was gonna do this video about the top 10 worst encounters I've had with women, and one of them is actually on Instagram as we speak begging for money. And she's not begging for money because she's like a cosplayer who makes all these different outfits, or I mean, hell, even the people that play video games, that's still something they do. It's literally, look at my amazing pose. I am so attractive. Please favorite and send me coins. Accounts with smaller numbers sometimes do intentionally ask that kind of attention kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah, there are plenty of channels, just as an example, on YouTube that are dedicated to responding to the Young Turks. I'm not going to mention their names, but there are plenty of people who have created entire channels just to focus on TYT, just to respond to that same channel on like a 24-hour cycle. Like, but again, if TYT looks at that channel, which sometimes they have 50,000 subs, sometimes they have 20,000, 1,000, some number that's under 100,000 usually, but maybe even one day 100,000. Are they going to look at that channel and say, well, even though they spend every single day talking about us, because they're not close to our number of subs or they're smaller, we cannot say anything directly to them? That's really not fair to respond to someone that talks about you all the time in a public manner, nonetheless. Yeah, I knew live streaming was trouble because people want to talk to their favorite YouTubers. No, live streaming is trouble because it seems like when people get to a certain number of subs, they just stop directly responding to most people that show up to the stream unless you give them some money. So like if I was a prick, I wouldn't even be reading what Rick wrote. I would just focus on what King said because he sent a super chat. And another issue is when you tell people, hey, this is kind of not a good thing because it basically says you have to give someone some coins to get them to respond to you, as opposed to making a good point that they actually might find interesting in answering the question of. But hey, people keep doing it. Told you, these websites make like the most simple things broken. I never thought I'd see a day where you have to give somebody money to just answer a question. PS4 started live streaming first. No, they've turned streams into like the biggest piggy bank ever. Oh, and on Twitch, they've actually been losing their minds recently because Twitch announced they're gonna get rid of streams and have copyrighted music on them. And there are a lot of people that just play random people's songs on their stuff for minutes or hours and don't get in trouble. No, so they're freaking out over that. They're really pissed. I work so hard on my streams, and this is a slap in the face. No, you're using their content and not paying them, so I don't know what you expected. That's like me taking James's music without his permission, and I play it at the front of my video, and then James says, "What?" and then decides to copyright claim me, and I'm supposed to go, even though James made this music and it probably took him hours to, compose the song and write the lyrics and whatnot. I used this on my stream one day, and that means I worked very hard as well. Megumi sounds like one of those astronauts when they land on Mars. Hey, I made it to Mars. Yeah, that is so messed up. Like, it becomes a game of trying to get the creator's attention by giving some money. It's screwed up system. Yeah, and I always explain, I don't expect them to read every comment. I expect them to read the comments of people that they find worth responding to or interesting. Because there are still some bigger channels like 200, 300,000 subs that if they do a stream, depending on what the person says, they will respond to you without asking for money. Hell, I don't even watch LTG, but I have to give him credit. He will respond to people without them giving him coins. I just hate that he does this thing where he'll turn the there's a green button on, I think it's either Twitch or YouTube, where only paid members get to say something. Which again, I think is nuts that that they've actually authorized it to where you can only write comments if you're paying something. Like he really turned his channel into like a pay-per-view system. Yeah, and dating coaches are taking people's money. Well, that's why I always found them to be kind of conducive to scammers because they're giving you advice that no matter how good you think it is, will never guarantee you a woman. And then they're getting all these coins off of you thinking that you're being helped. Like with me, I've done a whole bunch of different, I guess, responses to the chick stuff, and I don't ever ask for anything off of those because again, I have nothing to gain monetarily from addressing this. They are scammers, dude. Gumi, if you watch my video and donate to me on PayPal, I'm telling you everything will change. We'll get the Dragon Balls and wish for this broad to descend from the sky. Oh, I actually, part of me does kind of hate that I don't do the thing where I show the people's messages. So I did a stream about a month ago where I was talking about an individual who wrote a story about an underage version of the main protagonist of the story getting screwed by the main protagonist. It's some pedophilic tale. And after this person was exposed by another YouTuber, there has been one lone lunatic who has written not one, not 10, not 20, but 30 comments to this person across 3 different videos for over a month, almost every single day, and stated that they would keep writing comments to this person until they responded to them. But again, in that instance, the person who made the video on the bigger person was bigger than the individual who kept writing them all these crazy comments, and they were expected to respond. They didn't have anyone say, well, because you have 100 subs, this person has none, you can't say anything. I'm still surprised that people watched the live stream where there was a person sleeping and giving him money. I forgot his YouTube name. I mean, that sounds about as ridiculous as everything else on this site. Yes, 30 and there are very few videos just make me say damn, but I had actually watched the videos where this person comments. I didn't know they had commented that much because I'd only seen a few of them. She ended up confronting the person who made the video and the other person, this guy on Discord, and they ended up speaking to each other for about an hour. And she took all of the different messages that he wrote to her and started the video off by just having a montage of all. Some people love to watch them eat and they get lots of viewers. I remember on Instagram, there was this viral, not video, but this person who made videos on Instagram where she would have some food in front of her and put her face in it and like roll around in it, and people were watching that. But hell, let's use this as an example. Let's say someone who watches this knows who she is and then takes this clip and sends it to her, and then she tries to respond to me. I'm supposed to say, well, that's not fair because you were viral and I've never been viral, so you can't say anything back to what I'm saying. Hell, think of all the what's another example? A lot of people didn't like Batman versus or Superman v Batman: Dawn of Justice. What was that directed by? What was that, Zack Snyder? I think. Whoever director that was. Let's say after watching that movie get trashed just over and over again, year after year, the director said, "You know what? I'm going to respond to these people that made reviews talking trash about the movie I put so much work into." Are the people who made the reviews going to stick to what they said before, or go, oh, you can't talk about me because you're a big Hollywood director who's, got millions of dollars and I'm just a person that does videos on YouTube? Again, they throw grenades and then hide their hands. Let me go see who made that movie. Superman v Batman, or Batman v. I got it right the first time. I always just assume Batman is the second one because they like to say pretend that Superman's their mascot, even though he's been outsold by Batman in every way. Yeah, that was Zack Snyder. So if Zack Snyder went on YouTube and looked up the hundreds of reviews of Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, and he said, you know what, I'm going to do a whole channel where I just address each one of these different people that talked about this great film I made. Are they able to say to him, hey, I know I made a review of the movie that you worked on for over a year, but I only have 1,000 subscribers or 40,000 subscribers, and you have millions of people who watched your movie. Like that excuse of I'm too small, you're too big, can be applied to any situation because most of the time when someone talks about a famous person, the famous person is more well known, in a lot of cases richer, and just I guess has more clout than the person that is talking about them, usually in every instance. I also hate getting red flags on YouTube. Okay, AOU says it was too. Oh, that's the person's username. I thought you malfunctioned at the keyboard. Yeah, I was over there looking at that message very confused. Like, what? Okay, so he has a million views. I've only throughout all my stuff only had like 500,000 altogether, just all my views calculated. So that person is bigger than me. If that person, if I take his video and say this is why what he did was dumb or ridiculous, and he takes my video about his video and says I'm going to respond to it, am I allowed? Am I going to say, okay, you can respond to what I'm writing, or should I do what these people do and go, I only have 500,000 views and you have over 1,000,000 views. That's not fair. Why are you focusing on me? You know I'm focusing on you. If you didn't make a video about me, I wouldn't say anything about you. And that's really what this is about. This is about trying to get your opinion across on someone or their situation while not wanting that person to be able to get their opinion across about what you have to say about what they're doing. I just find that very unfair, and I've never really been in a situation where I was the bigger person because I try to ignore a lot of the channels on here. But that thing with that one subscriber of mine, I was like 10 times, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm like 10 times bigger in terms of subs, and it never registered to me. Oh well, because this person doesn't have 100,000 subs, I won't respond to what they stated. I did still to an extent offer some courtesies by like making their voice different, and I didn't even say their name at all throughout the entire stream. It wasn't until their friend came and tried to defend them that their name and identity got revealed. And I only really responded because I stumbled across that video by happenstance, and they were disparaging me in some ways that were very unfair. That's what ends up happening whenever you have people who focus on the romance stuff. They do tend to smear whoever disagrees with them. When in reality, we know most subs who are subscribed to a YouTube creator don't even engage with their channel or watch most of their videos. Yeah. So every time somebody says, oh my God, this person with 2 million subscribers just respond to me, I'm going to have 2 million people speaking negatively about me. It doesn't happen. When I responded to TYT about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I had at most maybe, and again, they have 4 million subscribers. They might have had 3 or 2 million at that point. I had less than 10 people respond back to me. Because TYT does not care about random people making a video about something they said. They already get their paycheck from doing a news story. And most of their subscribers don't care to go out and look for people criticizing them. It's only that really tiny, small group of fans who, go out and look for that kind of stuff. And the ones that came weren't being, I would say, specifically nasty, because I wasn't really nasty to them. I just said what they did was wrong. But even if they were, it still was a very small number of their actual overall subscribers who came and tried to say something. Yeah, I just find it really sad that you can't have an actual adult conversation with people anymore. That's like the number one lesson of this year, that if you want to actually address something like an adult, you have to do it with people that are not online. I'll never forget, there was a guy who wrote a comment on one of my videos, and this comment was so damn long that I couldn't even screenshot it. You know, when you know the text on YouTube on the computer screen isn't that big. I used to screenshot some of the stuff people would write to me and send to my friend because we would laugh at it. This comment was, I think, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. It was huge. But I took the time to read through this wall of text because I assumed if someone's going to write all of that about my video, they must want to speak about, like, it was probably the most thought-driven comment I'd seen on that video outside of maybe 2 or 3 other people. So I decided to respond to that person with a comment that wasn't as long, but still was kind of long, where I addressed some of the things they were saying. And then their response to me responding to them was, I barely read any of that. Like, well, hell, okay, bye. So you write a comment to me expecting me to read your novel, and I write something to you that's smaller than that, and then you don't read it, I'm supposed to talk to you. And again, that's how, just to show you how stupid people are. All this person had to do, if they didn't want to read the whole comment, was just not say they didn't read the comment. It's not enough for you to just not read something. You have to make sure you go out of your way to tell that person you didn't read what they wrote. Because I get sent all kind of stuff in my email and on my phone that I don't read. I had people throughout this entire month going, vote yes on proposition whatever. Think how crazy I would look if I responded to them and said, guess what? I didn't read your message. Like, it's weird. What validation do you get off of that? And again, it's another example of a person initiating a conflict or a confrontation or encounter with somebody and then trying to have their cake and eat it too. Oh, I don't care about what you have to say, which is why I wrote this 5-paragraph comments about what you had to say in this video. That's why I said a lot of times I don't even respond to my comment section, because the stuff people write in there, especially from the ones I don't recognize, it's like a spoof. Like yesterday I had a video, it's an old video, it was a dino video from like 4 years ago. Somebody commented on asking me if I knew how to read or something. Like, it's just weird. I never understood that either. Like, really, it goes both ways. They don't want to read your comments, so you don't bother to acknowledge their comment. Yeah, I've had too many like weird encounters with these people on this website to even, think it's worth it to talk to them anymore. Please read my 5-paragraph comment while I ignore your 3-paragraph one. The only way that comment that guy could have been even more ridiculous was if he had said, "Oh, I only wrote one Oh, I already did that video, Rick. Did that video 3 years ago. You can go look it up. Keyboard Warriors." And that wasn't even really what the topic of this was about. This was just about people feeling like they can attack someone and then trying to use the fact that the person is larger to go after them. Oh, there he is. That individual. I went on my channel comments last week and almost had a heart attack. I saw multiple comments from Envoy in 1 week. So he became one of only 3 subscribers I've ever had to write multiple comments on different videos in 1 week. This man who ignored me for months decided to write a bunch of comments. I couldn't believe it. I actually had to go and click on his channel to make sure it wasn't some duplicates or doppelgangers posing as him. It was all coming from the same person. They didn't have his shadow clones writing some for him. I was shocked. Who could have believed it, that he would finally address what I had to say multiple times in the span of a couple of days? It was like Christmas came early. Anyways, to answer what he said, the top 10 Piccolo fights video is in development. I just have to write the rest of the script. Who else did that weird thing I mentioned about you're not the big damn, what else happened? I'm trying to think of some other example of that where they had a movie where a bunch of people, Ghostbusters. So because somebody mentioned on another stream of mine, the Ghostbusters from 4 years ago, the one with all the chicks, despised by a whole bunch of people. Imagine if Melissa McCarthy or any of the other chicks that played the leads in that film or the director came and responded to the people who were there were a whole bunch of them giving bad reviews to that movie and said, all right, now I'm going to address what you said about my film. And then they go, that's not fair. You're in a movie that made millions of dollars and I'm just a small person on YouTube. It's like, no, you talked about the movie that they're in. They don't get to say anything back. Oh, I know there are. That's why I just made the decision to not say anything to them. Like, unless they come on a stream, it's very rarely actually addressed. And again, I do believe there are valid critiques to what I say. I don't really see that being done here. It's just people, throwing a bunch of names and insults around. Like, I remember 2 years ago, I looked up my name on some of these different forums, and they would post a video and not respond to anything I actually said in the video. They would just talk trash about the way I looked and make a bunch of assumptions with their, just world fallacy BS. Well, they're not responding to the topics. I had over 1,000 comments on that "Why Don't Approach Women Anymore" video. And it was either people talking about their own experiences, which I would prefer if they're not going to address what I say, or people talking about the way I looked, or just not actually saying anything in response to what I was talking about. Like, you would really think that video was like a fashion show from how many people were just talking about my appearance. Like, this is the damn beauty parlor. I said I was no damn runway model. But again, they do that stuff because it's a lot easier to harp on things that are hyper opinionated, because we can all get on here and say somebody is ugly versus actually addressing the points that are made. I really do want to do like a calculative thing where it's so crazy. Every single time someone says I'm ugly, it's always another man who's claiming to be straight. I could see if I went to a gay bar and then they were all talking, like, that would make sense. Think of how backwards it is when most of the people who've called you unattractive are people who aren't supposed to think you're attractive anyway. What the hell is wrong with people online? Oh, I live in the Twilight Zone. The biggest joke of all. No, don't say hi to Magumi. He doesn't want to talk to you. Not after he found out you don't like The Godfather Part 2. He doesn't want to address you anymore. Always other guys so interested and concerned on how you physically look. And again, those kind of inquiries are like, for example, if I was what's that magazine called, Playgirl? If I was one of the models for there, and people were addressing the way I looked, as a model, it would make sense for that to be something that would get commented on. Uh, and sometimes when people get roles in movies, that's also something that can be addressed because sometimes people say, "Oh, this person doesn't look like the character they're playing," whatever. But you gotta understand that it's supposed to be men who are these people who harp on appearance. And if you actually notice in the chick videos I do, I spend very little time actually talking about the way women look because that's not the point of my argument. So it's funny to like watch the chicks being excluded from having their physical appearances talked about, and then the man is like getting told of how hideous he is and whatnot. It's just because remember they always say men only care about women for their looks. Well, hell, what do you call the crap being written to me? Did I grow a vagina overnight? Yeah, it's a really strange pattern. I don't know what's wrong with people. Some men, I swear, have feminism in their DNA. Well, remember what feminism says that like there's this thing they call. So, for example, if you call a woman overweight, people will say you're body shaming. Um, what I'm saying is they have these various tactics in mind to deflect from criticizing chicks on various fronts. And when I see those same kind of criticisms being directed toward me, it just seems kind of strange that the same arguments of, hey, you shouldn't speak about this person that way don't apply. Kevin said, wow, really? Or I'm banning Kevin. He said your videos are crud. That's why your views are shrinking like Paul Rudd. Since when did he become a rapper? Kevin's going to be in top 10 anime betrayals. Those guys are. Oh, is that down low? I just find that to be very strange. I can happily go to my grave saying the majority of people who have at least expressed directly to me that they don't find me attractive are other men who are supposed to be straight. Oh, that's another thing. They'll accuse you of being gay for not being with a woman, but then you're not the one going around talking about the looks of other men. That's them doing that. Like all of it is so damn contradicting. It's really crazy. I'm getting rid of Kevin right now after he wrote that mean comment. Apparently, he thought my stream was the MCU. No, Kevin, we read what you wrote, and it was very hurtful. I don't know how I'll go on after that scathing rebuke. I was so hurt, so traumatized by that comment. Had a bunch of health issues and family stuff too, but it gets to me. Oh, I already applied for them, James. They're jerks. hey, let's interview you and have you come in here and think you actually have a chance, and then reveal to you that we have 40 plus people trying to get 4 positions. No, I don't want to hear about how attractive you think Sigourney Weaver is. You take this one to alien forms. That can be used somewhere else. No, it was the factory that they make them in. So you applied to the not the restaurant, the store, and then the warehouse responded back to me. Acting like clowns as usual. I know they had a Ghostbusters donut with Slimer on the cover. Oh, Rick, don't start throwing that word around. I'm tired of them. Like the members accuse you of being a part of their team. The people who supposedly don't like them accuse you of being part of their team. It's really crazy. Nah, Rick, that group is like that's like a dirty word over here. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day where a group could have a monopoly on an opinion. Well, he is really. Oh, thanks, Megumi. I appreciate it. I was gonna say Kevin is really sitting there discussing the faculties of donuts. Yeah, James, it's gotten so bad I don't even use that word. Like I don't put their name in any of my titles, any of my tags, along with that other one that starts with an M. And they're like, yeah, you're one of us. Like, I don't think so. So I guess there's like some secret number of chicks that when you get turned down like by enough of them, you're now like unknowingly inducted into this group. Um, no, I don't have that. I've seen people try to do that where they're like, oh, no, YouTube will take it out. It will take out a whole bunch of this. So please go to PayPal or Cash App or whatever. I don't have that because I don't usually get donations anyway. So I don't. It's not something I really prioritize. I just find it funny that they tried to claim you. Well, it wasn't even just them. It was people who apparently don't like that group either. And it really it pisses me off because when you go out of your way to explain your specific grievances with chicks and how they're not similar to what these people are supposedly wanting as a collective, that's when you realize they're not actually trying to hear what you have to say. It's just you critique chicks, so you're now automatically part of the team, even if they supposedly just want to get screwed and you want to, get married and have children, do all this other stuff. You're still connected with them. Like I said, there are plenty of women on this website and on other websites that have criticized behavior of men, and you don't see anybody saying they're part of the, the female movement to abolish males. Like it's weird. Yeah, that's the most disappointing part of it, though. That you'll actually sit here and be very specific about what you want, and then you get what you want ignored in favor of someone's bias. And that was the whole point of the video on Friday, that you had these people who were responding to what I was saying, except they weren't actually responding to what I was saying. They would talk about, oh, you probably do this or that with no proof. Yeah, I'm sick of both of them, Rick. I'm sick of them, that pill crap. I don't use any of those terms or affiliations, and I don't watch any of them either. Like I said before, the last time I watched a romance video that was not made by me was in 2016. When I was on my last leg with regularly talking to chicks after that, right out of my search results. Megumi said it's easier to just lump you into a group and not bother to actually address or listen to what you have to say. It's sad too, because I actually tried to look up the basic, because a lot of people have different definitions of it. I looked up what was being said about them, just I guess as a collective, and one of the things they talked about was self-pity. And I've never done a video going, I'm such a bad person because somebody wouldn't open their legs to me. Like, I've never done that because I'm not ashamed of myself. I want to have a relationship and a connection with, oh, you just want to get screwed. Yeah, but it all goes back to what I was saying. They use this word as a way of not wanting to accept that there are very specific, direct wants and needs by men that are not being met by chicks of the modern era. And that there are very valid criticisms that can be made toward both genders. And they're like, nah, let's sweep that under the rug. Oh, Dio finally showed up. It's really sad. People just, because I said before, it's about them wanting to be heard. That's why they leave these comments, but then not wanting to hear what somebody else has to say, which is why they won't listen to what you're actually stating. And again, out of all those nasty comments that have been left on the romance stuff, I would say less than 5% of them actually specifically address any of the points they're made. Like, even if you come on a video and say, what you're saying is stupid, you're still not telling me what I'm saying, like why what I'm saying is dumb. It's just, people writing something and then, I guess, feeling better about themselves from writing it. And another thing is that, as I said before, when I see people who respond back to what I state, it goes this way. They ignore what you say usually. Like, most of what you say, they either ignore, they ignore everything you say completely other than you critique chicks. And then they make a bunch of assumptions, again, to go with the just world fallacy. And I actually kept this out of the video. I was once in a Discord server 3 years ago where some of the members found out I didn't have the best opinion of a lot of these modern chicks when it came to dating. And they accused me of being selfish because I didn't want to jump through the hoops of these various wants and desires by these broads. They were of the belief that if I just kept talking to all of these clowns who, again, year after year, showed no interest in actually having this stuff go through. They would say they're interested and then they, change their mind a day later. That it was somehow selfish of me to not want to keep putting up with that. It wasn't selfish of them for wasting my time, but it was selfish of me for, not wanting to keep having the same result over and over. Yeah, they shout out arbitrary stuff on your videos, not even address anything said in the video. It's the same thing on the forums. I had a forum about a few months after because the Wide and Approach video was made in February and it didn't get a bunch of views on it until September or October. I literally had a whole 8-page form where I just read through the responses on it. Some other website, I don't even remember its name. It's really unknown. And literally all of it was, he's ugly. You're a nerd. This person needs to change their appearance. nothing actually. I saw in that entire 8 pages one comment where they actually addressed what I was saying, and the person agreed with me. I just think that's really sad because even with videos I don't agree with, I don't, you know, ignore what the person's saying to harp on their appearance. Because, like I said before, there are a bunch of chicks I don't think are attractive that still are able to get a date. So I don't have, like, I'm not so into the beauty is not the eye of the beholder that I try to say that it like justifies that person never getting with somebody. Where did my mod go? I think James went to sleep. He decided to vanish. Twilight Zone confirmed. Thank you. I appreciate that because I don't know what LeBron had to do with any of this. Yeah, I was worried that you weren't going to do it because that's why I was like, you got rid of that one message, but you're going to keep writing, spamming the same old stuff that's not responding to what I'm saying. Hey, he has the distinct honor of being the first person yanked by someone that's not me. No, he's the second person. The first one was the guy that made the video on me that begged me to unblock him, and then after unblocking him, after one of my mods blocked him, he decided to smear me in an upload. Oh no! Get rid of him. I don't want him back in 10 minutes. Come back. I've returned. I had a classmate who got in trouble one day. It was when I was in 12th grade. The teacher called one of the other teachers at the school, and I guess they called his parents or something. And I remember so distinctively him walking back into class and boldly proclaiming to the instructor, "If you think you can just toss me aside, you're in for a rude awakening." I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like, how do you say that to an instructor? But he was able to and got away with it. They really had this boy go, or I guess man at that point, he was 18, go to this other classroom, have this teacher tell him, "What you did wasn't good," and then he came back and like proudly proclaimed that he had returned. Yeah, Kevin, what? Yeah, please stop. Again, I'm a little bit more lenient on him because he shows up regularly, but first you had donuts, then you're discussing some celebrity nobody's even addressing. No, those that 12th grade year was so wacky. I would mention some other stuff, but because there's certain things people did that were very distinct, I can't really go too much into detail with it. Like, it's one of those things where if you address certain stuff, it will reveal who someone is. Well, I remember I had this science class where by the time it was like the last 2, 3, 4 weeks of school, it was only 4 male students in the class, and then 2 of them did something real. Like they I think they left school or they did something that ended up getting them like pseudo, like quasi expelled to where they couldn't come back to school for the final exams. So for like the last 2 weeks of or last week of school, it was just me and this other student, like the same one who said that thing to that teacher in that same class. The only 2 males are me and the person who proclaimed that the teacher was in for a rude awakening if she thought she could get rid of him. No, I had this one user I had three of them who came on my streams this year that I went to school with. I think that was 11th grade, and they were like, "Hey, how you doing? Remember me?" Unfortunately, I do. Go away. What the hell is trying to have a reunion 5 years later? And like I said, the reason that kind of stuff is creepy to me is because these are people I have not spoken to since being at that school. Uh, so like they're literally searching for me on the internet. It's like, hell, if I met so much, you wouldn't have waited 5 years to say something. No, people are weird. Hey Dio, we're going to school together. You mean so much to me. That's why I'm gonna ignore you for 5 years, and then when you're streaming, hey Dio, remember me? Guess who's back? Damn, get lost. No, I had one of them. It was this chick come on my stream, and she really tried to act like I didn't know who she was, even though she told on herself because she revealed that I spoke to her every day or some kind of trash, which wasn't true, but whatever. People like to rewrite history. I'd be pretty annoyed because if these people from my past wanted to actually be in contact with me, they wouldn't be from my past, they'd be from the present. I'll tell you this, when I was in school, at least like, middle school, high school, there college as well. They wanted to interact with me at long term or whatever, they could have done that. I'd be annoyed too because they only want something from personal gain. Well, again, the reason it's annoying to me is just how much time has passed. Like you've waited 5 years, why now? I'm telling you, I've never done that to someone where there's like some huge, enormous gap of time from the last time I spoke to them, uh, and been like, "Hey, let's reconnect." Like, no, screw you. I'm gonna treat you the way I treated you last year, like you're non-existent. I'm just imagining them like looking at my picture in the yearbook. I wonder how he's doing. Let's find out. And then they go online. Because it was like two or three. I was like, go away. And one of them who did had my number, and just they won't call you, but they'll show up on your stream saying, "Hello." Get lost, please. Thank you. Very irritating. Oh, I'm memorable. Well, it wasn't the other way around. I just think there's a certain cutoff point where if you weren't interested before, you just leave them alone. Rick, imagine if we went to school 5 years ago, and then between all that time, you're doing streams, videos, whatever, and I don't say anything to you again, all year after year after year, and then now I'm like, "Hey, Rick, remember me? I was in class with you." They let all this time pass. You can't help but think, why only now? They want to be interested in you suddenly. Yeah, it's not like I started streaming or doing videos yesterday, or hell, just got on social media. I have been like when I was on Facebook, I had a bunch of different students as friends or whatever. I removed them because I don't need that trash. But it's like you had all of these different avenues to contact me, and you just ignored them year after year. But now you're suddenly so interested. As I said earlier, I don't affiliate myself with any of those groups or terminology because even though I don't actively talk to chicks, I am still open to continuing if one acts like she has some common sense. Again, I've never done a video talking about pills at any point. I'm gonna overdose on something to get away from these trolls. That would be so crazy if I died and then my brother has to do a stream announcing my death. He's like, guys, I'm sorry, but he's sick of you. Goodbye. Because he was over here this past weekend. He said that he was open to. He's been trying to float the idea of doing a stream with me, and I just don't want him to get the same harassment. Plus, they have a thing on here about not having videos with kids, so I'm worried about if we did a stream together and he's like, you can hear his voice. They'd be like, does this video have a child in it? If so, we must make the live chat be disabled. And a lot of people don't like that when you go to someone's channel and then you have to watch another person. Like I mentioned, that one guy I was subscribed to for 10 years because he would make these videos where he would build stuff and make it move stop motion. And then all of a sudden he stopped making those and started doing these streams with his girlfriend. And then they did a stream announcing she got knocked up by him. I was like, yeah, I'm good. Well, thank you. That's enough for that person. Moving on. Yeah, that's again, I'm not entirely opposed to doing one with him. I just really do not want to see him get attacked. No, I don't. I've had people say, start a gaming channel. Even though there are plenty of people who do streams with games where they don't even have 2 people watching. And Kevin's really over here talking about Xanax. I remember there was this one chick that got in trouble who had a username like that. His GF surely impacted his upload efficiency. Yeah, he used to churn out, because again, when you make videos like that, it takes time and you have to put effort into it. But he used to churn out 4, 5, 6 videos a year. And again, that was while he was going to school and all had an act. I hate the idea that kids don't have stuff they do, other things that they balance. And it's like once he became an adult and got with this broad, it just like it screwed everything up. You'd be lucky to get one video from him a year. Yeah, and Megumi, I don't think it has to be that way because there are plenty of people who are married that actually are involved with each other. And like, business and career wise. So they just deliberately say, well, now that I'm getting screwed, I guess I can just take all of my hobbies and throw them to the wayside. It's really ironic, too, because a lot of people tell you need all these different hobbies and skill sets to get with someone. And then when you get with someone, I guess they just all get thrown out the window. People with 5,000 subs on YouTube only get like 23 viewers. Well, yeah, because a lot of those are dead subs. I don't think anything about them. I just personally don't want to use those terms because I don't want to affiliate with these different groups. No one cares. Megumi, listen, you need to learn to play basketball and baseball and be a pro gamer and also know how to cut grass and build things. Oh, but then once you get with this woman, you can throw all this away. It's like the NBA where they talked about how a lot of the players before they join, excellent. They're always doing everything they're supposed to do, and then when they get signed, their skills seemingly aren't as efficient because they feel as if they've made it. Now they don't have to work as hard. Well, yeah, but Taco Bell dog, yeah, that username, because I used to go to Taco Bell all the time. Uh, the thing with me in these like these romance groups, is that I would say I'm more hobby oriented than personal life oriented. So there are people I like speaking to, but my life doesn't revolve around getting a chick. Like there are plenty of things I would do and feel fulfillment from being involved with, even without one of these broads ever reciprocating. Like the idea of getting with one and marrying one was nice, but if they're so conceited that you can't even get one to go on a date, it's like, what's the point? Can we stop with the pill nonsense now? It's been debunked so many times on these streams that those terms aren't used. Yeah, well, that's what I said, Megumi, that it's literally people trying to apply something to you that you yourself never mention or discuss. It's kind of like if you were doing a sports channel and I came on your streams and I was like, Megumi, uh, do you consider cheerleading a sport? And you're like, what? I don't even talk about cheerleading. Megumi, what's your stance on cheerleading as a sport? Like, I don't talk about cheerleading. Megumi, please tell me about just you don't talk about this thing at all, and we just keep bringing it to you. Too many brothers playing musical instruments, boxing, singing, making music, gaming, fashion, sneaker, head, computer science, learning. Well, my thing is, I don't want to engage in some activity where my primary or one of my motives is to do it so that a woman will be interested. Like when I draw, I don't sit back and go, if I draw 1,000 pictures, I'll get screwed. I just do it because I enjoy it. Same thing with, doing videos. It's something that is rewarding in the fact that you made it or stuck through with it enough to see it get made. It's not. It's completely independent from chicks. So when people say do these other things to appeal more to women, it's just, I'm not, if I'm not into it myself, I'm not going to bother with it because they really should be two separate things. So you have that many hobbies. And again, why do you need to have, like, let's pretend he does, right? I think he's talking about other people. Why does someone need to have all of those just to go on a date? James, before you go on a date, you must know how to play music. You must know how to play football and basketball and baseball and soccer and tennis and be able to run, leap a building in a single bound. Well, again, they have never personally motivated me to do the things I like. The only thing they motivated me to do was talk to them. And again, the main motive for that was just because of the long term stuff that, they weren't willing to do. So eventually that interest just kept fading and fading until I just said to hell with it. And even if you do go after the supposed interest that interest chicks, you still run the risk of them writing you off anyway. But hey, those facts get swept under the rug. Exactly. I never mentioned this woman because she's not that big of a deal. There was a broad that I used to talk to who was an artist as well. We would discuss different things about art. The second, or almost right after I introduced the idea of any romantic courtship or relate, whatever you want to call it, she wasn't interested. So again, the idea that if you have shared interest with these people, they just gravitate toward you, in a non-platonic way. I don't see how it bears out. AOU says So at first you did all of that because of chicks. I don't think they're complex at all. I think a lot of them want something and then don't want to invest in it or be that interested in it, so they just leave it alone. I don't think men are that complex either. I think a lot of them do want to just get screwed, which apparently has only become a bad thing in the last like 10 or 20 years. My only interest in females is to troll them because of the copious amount of dumb stuff they say. Just imagine if you didn't and they don't reciprocate. Yeah, that would be an even bigger waste of time than just approaching, because now you're like doing all of this stuff just to appeal to them or to appeal to them. No, I don't think they're complex at all. I don't think most people are that complex. I wouldn't even call myself complex. I have some very specific things I'd like to see done that I believe I can articulate, but you know, it's not some kind of like Rubik's cube or grand puzzle. It's just a lot of people when you ask them what they want, I don't think can directly say what it is. Now, Megumi, if you see all these screenshots from these different chicks, it will make you want to pull your hair out, because they'll say one thing one day and then do the opposite or change their mind. And when you keep having it happen over and over again, you have these people who weren't there tell you that you need to just keep holding out. It really comes across as just them not really being concerned or caring about the toll that's taking on you as a person, to just keep having your time wasted over and over. And there's not supposed to be any consequence to that. Horrible at communicating, or they refuse to share their emotions, so you never know what's up with them. I mean, I guess. Do all that stuff for a woman. Truly is a shame things are this way. Yeah, I just don't understand how having a vagina entitles a group of people to uh make me do all of, like I'm supposed to do all of these different things just for them. They don't have to do anything except receive the fruits of my labor, but I'm supposed to jump through all their hoops and appeal to them in all these various ways. And we've even seen instances where that happened and it still wasn't enough. Megumi, I told you about the dingbat who said I was more handsome than her. I was smarter, funnier, and more attractive than her fiance, and she still wouldn't go on a date. Even when I offered to come to her state. No, it's just really a shame. That was the most insane thing ever. Well, yeah, but if I do the top 10 worst things video, you're gonna see all kind of different examples of that happening. Where, like, what more do you want? Like, the person that this is just how it is. You as the man are willing to accept them for who they are, work through all the little different issues they have, whatever, and then they tell you to go screw yourself. And then you have people online tell you to keep trying. Come on, or if they're more antagonistic, you didn't appeal to her because you're probably gay or some other trash that they concoct in their head that they have no proof of. And it just gets too tiring. Oh, here we go with that. No, I thought you had morphed into. Some people do it where they start trolling somebody and then they forget to change their name or picture, so we know who that is. Like they turn heel like in wrestling. I kicked down someone's Trump sign in their yard and ran away. No. I know somebody vandalized a Biden sign and they were talking about wanting to do all this evil stuff to him. Well, that's the thing. If you call them gold diggers, you're being sexist and evil, but then people online tell you that you need a bunch of money and to have six figures and all this other crap that basically insinuates the same conclusion. And again, if they really were all into money, how do these guys from these low income neighborhoods get screwed? With pixie dust? They really make it seem like these chicks that live in boxes get picked up by these men in Lamborghini and driven back to mansions. Like I've never seen something where reality just keeps proving that what these people are saying is full of, crap, and then they just keep saying it anyway. They're everywhere. They are everywhere. That's why I'm saying it doesn't matter if you have money or not. Yeah, I believe the same thing. Hey, Taco Bell, imagine some woman like actually does like live in a box or some house with, I don't know, broken windows or whatever, and then some Lamborghini pulls up and it's a guy in some, or I don't know, Armani suit. They drive back to his mansion. Oh my God, that's the kind of stuff they want you to believe, that there are these rich men going to see these chicks that don't own anything. Every single time a man is able to get screwed, that's what happens. Stay in their lane. Bums are running around thinking that they can bag a six-figure dude. Yeah, well, that's why I said that there's no standards applied to women, because if I were to do a video where I called one of them ugly, for example, people would get mad at me, upset. They would, might even try to flag me. They would go, "Oh my God, you're shaming this woman for how she looks. You're so disgusting." But then if people go on the forum and talk about I'm so hideous and whatnot for days, nobody cares. Well, it seems like the guys online care more about my wallet than the chicks do. Like very seldom when I spoke to any of them that even become a topic of discussion. And then when online, they just bring it up to assume something, to feel better about this situation. Look at Megumi shaking my head. Feminist society at its finest, folks. We're in a feminist society. We're in a feminist society, and you ain't in it. Took my catchphrase. A guy with a six-figure salary has pretty much high chances of having him of a vasectomy. Oh, don't start talking about that, because I'll get in even more trouble. The question is, where are you from? Oh yeah, that's another one of the recurring questions I get asked, even though I've said it multiple times. Well, usually if I speak to a broad, I don't really think much about ratings. If I find her attractive, that's kind of just it. But thanks for doing that same thing these other people do, where they spam some random person's channel I've never heard of. James, go watch this guy. After this stream is over, go check him out. Somebody actually they left me this like paragraph long comment. I used to watch you, and your opinion about chicks, I would strongly endorse and recommend that you check out this person. Why are you here? If you like that person, like them on your own. Try to drag me into that. But they love, doing that. I've come back from this person's channel to bear the good news, to share the fruit of what he had to say and how it's relevant to this day. They really turn into prophets for these like other people. No, what's that term? They have so with the election, they have the campaign surrogates, their channel surrogates. They're like, I've come to bear the good news. I looked at the Gospel of Samuel. No one cares about giving a woman anymore. Go promote that somewhere else. I'm imagining after you say that, James, he puts this, like he goes outside with like a yard sign or like runs ads on TV about the Gospel of Samuel. He just like gets like this custom sign and like puts it up as a billboard with the URL for his channel, the link, like on the billboard, and then like a picture of Samuel in some action based pose where Samuel's like this. What's that one Superman pose where he's like flying and he's got the one arm forward? Oh my God. James, I'm here to promote this person. You got to listen to me. Hey, James, you probably never saw. Did you see Friday the 13th, Part 6? Have you ever seen that before? They got the one scene where Tommy's getting arrested by the officers. No, you got to listen to me. Jason's after me. They come to me. You got to listen. You got to watch this person. Oh yeah, the internet has, people, they don't want to acknowledge that, where before the internet, when you got turned down by a broad, you didn't have people trying to tell you about the 99 things you need to do to get with one. And you didn't have such, I can literally tell you stories of chicks that will have like just post stuff on Instagram, and they'll have random men trying to get with them, like in their inbox. Oh my God, you're so sexy. I want to make babies with you. Like they actually do that. Random clowns on the computer just. And again, the ones that have had these experiences, I don't think are attractive at all, physically anyway. And they still have multiple men, throwing themselves at them. The only zombie I want to hear about is Rob Zombie. Mini celebrity lifestyle sound good, huh? I just never thought I'd see the day where like your genitalia determined how important you were. Like, and Megumi, this isn't about worshiping another group, but just imagine how much easier stuff online would be as a broad. You get to post risque pictures of yourself and have people go every time you post a photo. You get to have a large group of the members of the opposite sex who you've never talked to, never spoken to, just be in love with you when they enter your comment section or your DMs. And if people try to insult you, you have individuals who've never met you who come on and go, that was so messed up what he did to you. I'm going to his channel right now. But again, when people insult me, it's all right. Told you, it is the greatest irony in the world to to very rarely, if ever, talk about the way any specific woman looks at all, and then have people like other men just insulting the way you look. Like, you would think I did a video where I said, "Oh, these women are hideous, and I'm the most handsome man ever," but that never happened, and they were able to come to that conclusion. Let's attack him not for what he says, but his appearance, which had nothing to do with his arguments. And still doesn't make his arguments invalid, because they've never seen what any of these broads I've talked to look like. And they never will, because I'm not, again, going to put somebody's photo out for a video. No, it's really crazy. But anyways, I'm going to get off of here because I've gone on a little bit longer than I would have liked. Baby like 600. Oh, okay. Some large woman. I don't think anybody you would watch. Secular Talk, TYT, Jimmy Dore. Again, I don't really spend outside of when I talk about it. I don't spend time observing other people address it. I use the same philosophy as David Pakman. He said he doesn't watch any political shows other than his own. I don't watch anybody else's, I guess, romance analysis besides myself. I have more important things to do. Anyways, thank you, Dio. Thank you, Megumi. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. See you.